Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant and this is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you to all of you that join me on those live on Sundays and join and talk to me and ask me questions. I appreciate it. And to all the new subscribers, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this tribe. So today's episode, I wanted to talk about what happens when the narcissist fails at the Hoover. Remember, I always say in the past, they can lick a window and you could care less. So that's just a funny way of saying they can do whatever they want to do. They can do whatever antics and it doesn't bother you, doesn't disturb you. You have finally gotten to a place where it doesn't matter what they do. You don't even care about them, period. But you can't figure out, why won't you just leave me alone? Why won't you just leave me alone? Now, for some of you that have children, it makes it a little more complex because they'll use the kids to Hoover you. You are the main focus in the Hoover, not the children, but they'll use the children to Hoover you. So let's just say that you have, gotten away from them. The cloud has lifted. You can see clearly now that the rain is gone. You have finally gotten to a place where you are happy, and all of a sudden they show up and start to Hoover you. Now, let's just say that, they Hoover and it doesn't work. Let's just say that, there's nothing that they can do. They don't even know how to Hoover you anymore. Remember, they're entitled now. And so some of you guys that have been in a relationship for 10, 20, 30 years and have children by this individual, when I say good supply, it means you were the longest lasting supply that they had, and you were the most abused and misused. You were the most emotionally abused and misused and broken individual because they really did a number on you. They really hurt you deeply, and especially with your children, they left and it's like you never existed, and you spend all this time with this individual. For some of you, it could have been 10, 12 months, but let's say that you are the longest source of supply that they've ever had. So you were that primary source of supply. They always see you. You belong to me. Doesn't matter what I do in this world, but when I come back and take you off the shelf, you better be there. That's that entitlement that they have. And if you have kids by this individual, you always belong to me. So if I ever need you, you should always be there regardless. I don't care what goes on. You should always be there. And I expect you to come when I tell you to come. Now, some of them are a little, when I say smart, a little more manipulative, where they realize, like, no matter what I do to get you to try to get you to react to what I'm doing, it's not working. They become desperate. They become desperate enough where they begin to use other people around them as flying monkeys. They'll use other people around them, such as your children, the family members, close friends, and their new supply. And what they'll do is they'll Hoover through them. They'll reach out through these individuals because they're trying to get you. You are the main target. So they'll use the kids, they'll use your relatives, they'll use their relatives, whatever they can do. They need to know where you are because they don't feel you anymore. They don't feel that sense of empowerment over you. Something has happened and I've lost control. Well, what they didn't put two and two together, what they didn't consider is that the longer that they shelved you, the longer you had to recover, the longer you had to realize what you were dealing with, the longer you had to become educated on this type of abuse, the longer you had to discover, your value and your importance. They never expected you to ever learn or to grow up or to grow out. And so they come back and they can't Hoover you the way that they used to Hoover you. So they something's wrong with you because I've always been able to pull on you. And so they'll recruit people like family and friends, like new supply. They'll do things like reach out to your children. They do things purposely. It's like they purposely do things to get you to react. Sometimes stupid stuff. They have conversations with your children, and you can tell by the conversation has nothing to do with the child. That everything that they're doing in the conversation has everything to do with showing you their new car, showing you their new homes, making sure that they send pictures of them and their new supply, showing it doesn't matter what they do, but you can tell by the conversation that they're having with the children that the whole conversation is really for you and not for them. See, one thing that a narcissist does not take in consideration is that you're not as dumb as they think that you are. You're not as ignorant as they have made you to feel that you are. And that the more that you learn about them, the more you begin to see their behavior and the more you begin to pick up on what they're doing. And so the little things that used to bother you so much, now it's almost like, I can't believe that an adult would do something like this as old as you are. And most of them have some age on them, whether they're 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. But it's almost like now you can look at them like, I can't believe that this individual is so simple-minded. They're very manipulative. And they remember they mirror people. So most people think that they're the most intelligent person in the whole world. And you, on the other hand, who knows this person and you know what you're dealing with, you're thinking this is the smartest, dumbest person I've ever met in my life. You can even see through the games. You can see through the conversations where if they show the conversation that they have with your children, if they show the conversation that they have with people and friends around you that is in your circle, you can tell that the conversation has nothing. It's almost like, you remember when we were talking about narcissists and sex. It's like they're having sex with themselves. You're not even in the room anymore. And you're like, hey, here I am. It's all about themselves. It's about self-gratification. It's all about them. And so even when they're having conversation with people, even in the conversations, it's almost like it's all about them. And so when they're having conversation and they're really going after you because you are the goal, you are the target. Their mission is you to hoover you. And so they pick out all these people within your circle, close in your family, friends, whatever they can in order to get to you. And the conversation basically is to you. Even other people will begin to look like, this has nothing to do with me. I don't get this. This is kind of dumb. Why would they send me something like this? Or what does this mean? I don't get it. And in your mind, you're thinking like, that has nothing to do with you. That is all about me. This is how much you're on that narcissist mind, because they cannot believe that you have the audacity to grow up. You have the audacity to heal. How in the world did you? And they become aggressive. They become so aggressive that they will even recruit their own new supply in order to hoover you. And the crazy thing is that the new supply doesn't even know that they're a part of the game. Whatever the narrative is, the narcissist creates their own narrative. They create their own story about you. They smear your name. They try to make you look bad. It doesn't matter. So they play on the emotions of the new supply. And so when they're playing on the emotions of the new supply has been recruited to hoover you and harass you at the same time. So they do whatever it takes because they're going to defend their woman. They're going to defend their man. And whatever it takes, I'm going to help them because I hate to see them this way. And remember, narcissists are great actors. They'll cry at crocodile tears at a break of a lie. Put it that way. They're emotional. They're actors. They're so good. They'll roll on the floor. I'm talking about Academy Award winning performances. You thought that people like Denzel Washington and Brad Pitt and Sean Connery and Samuel Jackson and Bruce Willis, all these action actors, Jamie Foxx, all of these actors with these extraordinary acting, careers. And these are the people that, when you see their name show up in a movie, you already know the movie's going to be good because whoever hires them to act in the movie, you already know the movie's going to be a good movie. Well, imagine your narcissist is that great actor. And to a point where they will you can look at them, know them, but other people don't know them. Well, they'll cry, roll on the floor, hold their chest, whatever. So imagine the game that they're playing with that new supply, he or she. That game that they're playing with this new supply concerning you, concerning your children, but the whole goal is you. And the sad part about it is that these new supplies get recruited as flying monkeys and they play right into the game. And really in your mind, you're thinking like, how can you be this ignorant? You don't feel like uncomfortable. You don't see what's happening. You don't feel like, why are you pursuing this individual? Like what? Because they're so blinded by the charisma, the lies, the trauma bonding, and a lot of times those new supplies are more focused on, I'll do whatever it takes to show you my loyalty. I'll do whatever it takes to show you I love you and I care. And I'm going to defend you at all costs. And so they have these blinders on. But guarantee you, just like most of you, when you get away from the narcissist and those blinders are lifted and that fog is lifted, you see clearly the game that they have been playing. And for most of you guys, you're embarrassed and you're full of shame dealing with the fact that I cannot believe that I fell for this. A lot of you were the new supply and you played into it, even though you may not have meant to do it facetiously, but they told you this story. So a lot of the evidence evidence pointed toward the truth in the story that they were telling you. So you too, were fighting this old supply and helping and defending this narcissist, only to find out later on, oh my gosh, they did the exact same thing to me. So how true can this possibly be? If you're saying this about the old supply, but you're doing me this way, you begin to slowly pick up on, maybe it wasn't the old supply. Why haven't you talked to the old supply? Why haven't you two got to know each other yet, right? But when it comes to the Hoover, they'll use anybody, they'll use anything. And when they get desperate, they become very aggressive. They use people around them. They become very aggressive because it's a challenge to them. How dare you not let me pull you back in? How dare you not let me Hoover you and suck you back in? I shelved you. And so when I shelved you, I expected you to still be on that shelf. How dare you? How dare you think for yourself? Because they're entitled. They feel like they're entitled to your time. When I come around, everyone else falls, on their face and worships me. When I come around, people show me attention and they show me gratitude. When I come around, people flock to me, and I don't understand why you're not doing it. So if you're not flocking, I have to come and see and find out why. What is the problem? I need to pull you back in, and it's becoming harder and harder. So I'm becoming angry. They become angry because, number one, you're free, and they really don't bother you. They don't, you're like the last person. Most of you guys tell me that if it was the last person on the earth, I would be a eunuch. If me and that individual was the last person on this earth, I would be locked in a cave by myself, eating my own hair. So a lot of you, some of you have really gotten to a point where I can't stand them, and I wish they would leave me alone. But it's like they won't leave you alone. And most of you ask me, why won't they just leave me alone? I don't bother them. I don't interfere with their relationships. Why won't they leave me alone? They are narcissists, and they can't understand why you won't contact them, talk to them. So I'm going to find any way, if I can just get you to say one thing, like leave me alone, or text me, what are you doing? Or stop doing what you're doing, or quit sending these texts to my children, or quit emailing them, or even to say something to their new supply. That is a reaction. That's what they want. That makes them feel empowered. They realize they still have the ability to make you react. They still have the ability, even if it's something nice like, hey, how are you doing? They still got a reaction from you, and it gives them a sense of empowerment. You have to remember that you're dealing with people that are dysfunctional in their thinking. They're not normal people like we are. Whatever normal is nowadays, but they don't think like we do. They're not normal people like we are. Their minds are totally and most people that meet them, they're charismatic, they're nice, they'll do anything for anybody. People fall in love with them. They're mesmerizing. I was listening to an interview with, I think it was a comedian, where he was talking about Prince. And he said that when he met Prince, he says to look in his eyes, he has the most, the most mesmerizing eyes that will just pull you in. And it's almost like when he stares at you, he stares into your soul. And it was almost like he could have got me to do anything. It was just his eyes. He said it was something so hypnotic about his eyes. This is a guy talking about Prince's eyes. And I can't recall the comedian's name, but he said it was something so mesmerizing, so hypnotic about Prince's eyes that causes you just to be whatever he would have asked you to do, you would have done it. Well, narcissists are like that too. They use whatever skill they got, whatever they complimented on, they enhance that to cause people to just fall in love with them, to believe everything. They're so believable, so charismatic. They make you feel so important. They make you feel beautiful. They always have something nice to say. They help you. They'll get up in the middle of the night to change your tire, whatever it is. And this is what draws people in. That's why it's hard for a lot of you to tell people what this individual has done, because you're dealing with a narcissist. So imagine when they are hoovering, they are just almost flabbergasted at the fact that it's not working with you. Everyone falls for me. So how dare you ignore me? How dare you? And it makes them become more aggressive, and more aggressive. And the more aggressive they become, the more irresponsible they get, and the more they begin to expose themselves. And so this is just something that I wanted to talk about for just a minute. What happens when the Hoover fails? It was a question that was asked. What happens when the Hoover fails? They become aggressive. They become desperate. They begin to use the people around them. They go all out, and you are the target. And it's just so sad that because you are the target, they don't mind damaging and hurting anything in their pathway to get to you. And if you don't give them the fuel that they want, it doesn't matter. They'll keep on pursuing you. And most of you guys are like, why won't they just leave me alone? Some of you even say, why won't they just die? Don't say that. And I understand how angry, some of you guys get. You feel sorry for them in one hand, and once you feel sorry for them, they'll do something else to make you just hate them, because this is a personality disorder. This is a permanent personality disorder. It won't change, and it gets worse with time. So I thank you guys for tuning in. Please share the video, educate people, let them know what they're dealing with. You have all these coaches that are very good at what they talk about. Go to my mentor's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. She brings it to you from a spiritual perspective. She is not only a life coach, but she's also the presiding prelate of our ministry. She's a senior pastor, and then she has other churches that she's over and other ministries, a plethora of ministry, and she travels worldwide, and she educates about the spiritual aspect of narcissism and brings you encouragement. You have people like the Honorable Bishop R.C. Blakes. You have people like Dr. Romani. You have people like Angie Atkinson. You have people that talk about this all the time. Go, for those of you that are going through the legal battle, go to One Mom's Battle. She's had 10 years of experience of having to take this through the court herself and winning custody of her children back. So there are people out there that can educate you and bring you information on what you're going through. All of us don't have all the answers, but we're going to do the best we can to educate you, because one of the biggest things is we want you to understand, because knowledge is power. And when you understand, it helps with the healing process. A lot of you guys are going through a lot of this trauma, post-traumatic trauma. But what really helps you guys is to educate yourself on how these people function. When you realize it's not your fault, when you realize that you're actually not crazy, that is that person, a lot of you begin to feel better about yourself. Like, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I saw what I saw and experienced what I experienced. And when you guys come to tribes like this and other people are sharing information, you see you're not the only one. So please subscribe to my channel. I'm Dr. Carmen Bryant. This is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. You can also join me on podcast. My main platform on podcast is Podbean, and you'll find me under Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify. You will find my videos on there. You can also go to my Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. You can go and you can give me a thumbs up on that. You can find me on Instagram. I don't go live on Instagram, but I just repost on Instagram. I think I'm under Overcoming Narcissist Abuse as well. And so I thank you guys. Right up underneath here, you can see there's betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen, which is a sponsored link that assists you with finding counselors in your area to do online counseling at a nominal fee. When you hit the link, you get a 10% discount. And on top of that, if you're having financial difficulties, it's a nominal fee. They can also help you with grants to help you get a counselor in your area so you can do online counseling. I do provide counseling, but only in the state of Washington. That is where my license is at. Other than that, I provide coaching services, which is different. Is very different, coaching versus counseling. And so I do provide coaching for those outside of the state of Washington. You're welcome to contact me. My information is right up underneath this video, Dr. Carmen Bryant at Outlook.com, underneath my YouTube video. Those of you that have asked about donations, and I thank you guys once again, it is my Cash App and my PayPal is right up underneath there. Thank you guys so much. I do have a book, Unmasking, The Illusion of Perfection. You can find it, and it's right up underneath the link on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon. You can get the ebook, you can get the Kindle, and you can get the hard or soft copy. So once again, I thank you guys. You guys go and be great.